Hello, 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 and welcome to the Quarry Channel. I'm Jason, your host, and we are here. We are happy. We're splendiferous. I've been up since about 5 a.m., but that's okay. I'm alive. I'm awake. We're going to have some food. The food in the air fryer is potato croquettes, the pie, like yesterday, and the sausages in there for the doggykins. They seem to like those sausages, so Beryl to make sure she has lots of food. So let's get things going. Let's do things. Already fed the dogs because I gave them sausages left in here from yesterday. Yeah, that is on. Yeah, we have what we need. A knifeykins. We are happy like a fish in the sea. We are happy like a fish in the sea. We are happy, happy, happy like a fish. Right, so we do some potatoes. Potatoes. We are in a good time. We've had a good morning, a productive morning at the moment. I've been working on this computer down here a lot. I've tested a lot of games on it. It can actually play quite a few games. Only a few games it's having trouble. It even plays Cyberpunk. Pretty well plays Cyberpunk. I mean, seriously. 30 frames per second, but it plays Cyberpunk. Which is actually pretty amazing. It's a day to get rid of some rubbish as well. Some in here. Refill this. Refill the Berkey. I'm forever blowing bubbles. Bubbles in the air. Enough water for that. There. One there. Up. The world is a bit strange at the moment. Lots of instabilities happening, lots of issues. I mean, seriously, the amount of stuff going down. Something crazy. I mean, we're talking crazy. Some frozen carrots. Some frozen carrots. I'm forever blowing bubbles, bubbles in the air. To fly so high right up to the sky. Cookies. So, mashed potatoes, carrots, and pie. What we're going to do. Oh, need to refill the Berkey with water. Let's look for the Berkey. All the Berkey has to be done. Yeah. Hello, Berkey. Good. Now let the dogs out in a minute. Let them go in the backyard. Feeling lots of my friends were up late watching anime last night. It might be a bit early for them. Time zones suck. I hate time zones. What do we need to refill the doggy's water? So it's always got to make sure the doggy's got lots of water. Hello there, Dazo. I am cooking potatoes, mashed potatoes, carrots, and the air fryer has got some pie, a pie, chicken pie, and it's also got a couple of potato croquettes. Oh, Aaron, the doggies, we've got two doggies here. The doggies have had their food already. Ooh. We need to do some stuff. Okay. Penguin, you don't have to be sorry to me. There's a lot of other people that you've screwed over, and you know you have. You've put yourself before quite a few people. And that shows what kind of person you are. And that's why I removed you from the Discord. You don't have to explain to me, I don't want to know what's going on, but I do know enough to know that you've put yourself before quite a few of good people, and that sucks. So I wish you well on what you're doing. You just can't be a part of what I do anymore. Right. So let's look at the news, because is it just me, or is the world going completely to shit at the moment? I mean, seriously, the entire world seems to be completely unstable. I mean, we've got the stuff going down in Ukraine, which is pushing closer and closer to Putin's setting off a nuke, because he's having a tantrum because his illegal war isn't going the way he wants it to. And now we've got Sudan is now in complete and total meltdown. North Korea is trying to make itself important by saying it's got nuclear capabilities and wants to blow people up. Afghanistan is completely and totally screwed if you're a female. China is edging closer towards military action to try and take back Taiwan. India and China are at tensions higher than they've ever been. And pretty much, oh boy, I would say that the world's in a worse position than it's ever been in, ever. I mean, seriously. In my 50-odd years of life, I've never seen the world in such a shitty position as it is now. I have never seen the world in such a shitty position. And we're not talking just basics here. The world is in meltdown. And everything's going to hell. Yeah, the price for food is going crazily higher. I mean, for example, 2019, I could get a bag of. Oops, let me just. Hi. I've just done a shopping again today. Yeah, really quite horrific because the problem is, well, a bag of sausages, basic sausages, for 20 sausages you used to be able to get them for 99 pence in the UK. That same bag of sausages is now £3.40. And hello Beth, yay, Beth's here, Tequila's here, Tenacious. Everything is becoming more unstable. We are not talking about just a one-off. All food, it's like, I don't know if it's the same for you in your countries now, but used to have like 10 different cans of beans you could choose from, 10 different cans. Now there's only like 2. You used to be able to get like beans and sausage. A tin of beans and sausage, you could get the store version, which was cheap. You could get the Heinz version, you could get Cross and Backwell, you could get so many different versions. Yeah, and it's like, now we've got like one option for beans and sausage. And it's the same across the board. Everything you look at now, there's not and that's how you know things are getting bad, is when the limiter. And mayonnaise. Mayonnaise used to be available about 99 pence. It's now £3.50. It's like, holy chicken soup. And this is just since 2019. This isn't an economy of scale. This isn't just things getting worse over time and more expensive over time because of inflation. This is, and then we've got, it's all a knock-on effect though. I mean, and it's to hate to put it all down to one person, but it's got to be put down to Putin. Because even with COVID, we were just about starting to get over COVID. I mean, COVID's still around, still dangerous, but we were just about getting over it. And that COVID had put a massive stress on the logistics of the world. Massive stress. We had run out of all of our butter mountains, our wheat mountains, all those things that Europe had. Too much food that they couldn't even give away. It was rotting because we didn't had so much. And now everybody's a bit hungrier. There's less thingy. And there's a very real chance that Russia's going to use nuclear weapons. I mean, there's a very real chance that Russia will use nuclear weapons. You see, the reason that yeah, I don't agree with that, Tequila. I don't agree with that, Tequila, because even the global elite need a country, a world to come back to. No matter how many conspiracies you want to believe about the global elite, which is mostly bullshit because they're inadequate. Yeah. Now we are talking about a situation where it doesn't matter how much money you've got, it doesn't matter whether you've got a nice little bunker, it doesn't matter how manipulative, if the nukes go off, you're fucked. That's the problem. We've gone past the point of the normal. Yeah. See, this is the problem. The general prices in that, but yeah. The nukes are going to screw everything. And the problem is, we've had mutually assured destruction deterrent. And actually, as crazy as mad sound, it worked, because as long as you've got people on both sides or all sides who are rational, have rationale in their brain, then mutually assured destruction works, because you don't want to fire your nukes because you know they will fire their nukes, and nobody wins in a nuclear war. And it worked. It's crazy, but it worked. This is why we've tried so hard to stop places like Iran and North Korea. Okay then, bye bye, David. Getting nukes because they're slightly crazy and willing to use them. That's why we've tried for so hard to stop them getting nukes. Because most other countries, even China's got a policy of only using nukes. Well, it says it's got a policy of only using nukes if someone else does. Yeah. Don't know whether I believe that with China, but most countries, most rational countries, most of Europe will not launch a nuke unless, even if someone else launches a nuke, it's still a maybe possibility. But once you've got people like North Korea who threaten nearly every day to fire off a nuke, and they're getting closer to having the ability to do it. Yeah. And then you've got Russia who is going, someone needs to kill, unfortunately, it's not just, if you just kill off Putin, things won't change because the people that will take power are even more hardline than him. Yeah, the cyber wars are going on all the time. You have to be so thingy of looking after things. But yeah. And then the new AI arms rates, because when you talk about cyber wars, we're talking now about artificial intelligence cyber wars. Every country is now starting to gear up because they've seen the possibilities of using AI in cyber attacks and that it's become everywhere wants them, and that's going to cause problems. We literally could be days away from Russia setting off a nuke in Ukraine or some other situation. Yeah. Yeah. Don't these people watch the Terminator movies? I mean, I love AI. I think AI is a wonderful thing. But the version of AI that we're going to have now is going to be militaristic. It's going to be warfare based. And it's not going to be good for anyone. The problem is AI escalates, and once you've started down that path. Yeah. The problem is, this is how it's going to go. And I've told you, I know quite a bit about the stuff that goes on. Because I'm autistic and I spend a lot of time researching all of this. Oh, that's the food. And the thing is, this is how it's going to go if it's going to go. Russia will do a strategic or a tactical attack on Ukraine. Because Putin still doesn't think that even if he uses a nuke, the West will respond. And unfortunately, he's right, because if yeah. See, that's if the nuke gets fired from Belarus, Putin can pretend and say, "Oh, we didn't do it. It was Belarus." They can use Belarus to do it. But let's say a nuke goes off in Ukraine. Then NATO will and Europe will respond, and America will respond. Now, there's a very good chance that they won't respond for one single nuke. They won't respond with nuclear, because if you both start using nukes, America and everybody else knows it's just a war of escalation, and boom, we're gone. So what will happen is the West will use standard military forces, or at least try to start that way, because that's the more rational way. We'll try to cut the head off, we'll try to take out Putin, we'll try to destroy Russia's ability to launch any more nukes without actually nuking them. That will be the first thing that's thingy, because they'll try to at least not do it. Unfortunately, if that happens, if the West engage Russia, then China will side with Russia, North Korea will side with Russia, and a few other places will put their oar in. I mean, at that point, basically, North Korea might just launch its nukes just for the hell of it, because it wants to seem as if it's important again. So it wants to make itself important. So it might just do it at that point, because it'll think, ooh, America's distracted by Ukraine, now's the time to nuke South Korea. At the same time, China will probably attack Taiwan, because it will believe, China will attack Taiwan because they will know that the US, no matter how powerful the US, it can't split its forces to deal with both. So it's the best time for China to attack Taiwan. So that's where and then we'll be at a configuration of forces attacking each other. At that point in time, China and Russia will use their secret weapon. And we've talked about this before, and we Tenacious, the bombs that they got up there. And this is basic fact. All the people know this. Basically, the idea is this. All you do is, during the last couple of years, during the fight, both Russia and China have been launching satellites into orbit and not telling people what they are. But basically what they are is they're just bombs. They're not bombs to rain down on us. They're not nuclear. They're not nothing like that. They're up there. They're shrapnel kinetic warheads to just explode, which will send shrapnel whizzing around the Earth and destroy all of the, or most of the satellites. Getting rid of most of the communication ability between Europe and the US. Cutting people off. Really good tactic. Horrible tactic, but really good tactic. And then the Russian subs, which have been scouting out all the North Atlantic cabling that carries our internet from the UK to America. Yeah. And when that happens, Russia and China will cut off communications, and we'll be back to using radios and temporary cell towers and all this kind of crap. That'll have to be emergency put in place so that we can have communications. Basically, me in the UK won't be able to talk to you, to people in America at all. It looks like there'll be no way of contacting you, and lots of services will go down because the communication will be cut. And this is a very intelligent strategy by Russia and China, to break that communication lock, take off the communications so they don't have to fight us all at once. Oh, the communications will still get through, but it'll be much harder to see something coming and that. So that's how it'll start. And the thing is, we could be days away from that, because Putin is very... Yeah, it will... Yeah, because... Oh my God, I mean, tequila. Think what happens when Facebook goes down for half an hour, or Twitter goes down for half an hour. There's people out there that won't be able to function without it. I mean, I've got all my backups and everything. I've got basic radio in the house. I've got an old analog TV and that. I have all the access to the old stuff if things go down. I've even got an old CB radio upstairs, so I can talk, a citizen band radio, so I could talk to people and things like that. And I've got solar in my backyard. Yeah. Yeah. So the whole point is the world's going to go to crap if it happens. I don't think it'll be the end of the human race, but it's going to be a bumpy year or so. And like you said, Tequila, this war's been going on since basically it's Europe's fault. Europe fucked up. Europe is to blame for all of this. Europe and the UK. And the reason is this, it's very simple. Since about 2010, we tried to appease Russia. And anybody knows you don't appease a bully. But we took their oil, we took their food, we took their gas, we signed up for everything, we allowed them set up their pipelines, we became dependent on the Russian stuff, and so Russia just thought that it could get away then. And then it did Chechnya, and then it did the stuff in over in Afghan and all that. Before that even was going down long in the past. And then they took Crimea. And still, we didn't stop them. We allowed them to get to this point where they believed they could get away with anything. So it's all on Europe for that. Sadly, Europe and us, we allowed them. Yeah, one of Europe's biggest mistakes was getting into the pocket. You can't get into the pocket. He's a dictator, he's a totalitarian. He's not anything like us. The same with China. China is the same. And so we are in a position where, that's why I keep saying to people, spend time with the people that matter to you. Make sure you have a plan to if you do need to get out, and make sure you have at least 7 days of... Do you know the crazy thing, Tequila, is there's a massive amount of people in the UK who don't even have 2 or 3 days of food in the house. They exist on takeaways and going out. They don't actually have food in their house. It's kind of crazy. 2-3 days, and these people won't. I'll just be. If they can't use Just Eat or Deliveroo or go out, yeah, it's crazy. Me, I've got multiple weeks of food in my house. I could probably stretch the food in my house up to 2 to 3 months if I rationed it. I've got at least a month of food for the dogs before I would have to give them some of my food. And to me, that's no difference than having an insurance on your house. It's just preparing just in case, because the world is a lot more unstable than it used to be. So the world is, and now the Sudan, and now the Sudan is, and the problem is, I know this seems crazy. This is me. I'm going to look at a little bit of a. Here's a little bit of. I don't have any proof of this. I do not have any proof of this. But I get the feeling, and I hope I'm wrong. I hope that China and Russia are not behind the instabilities in the Sudan. Because setting the Sudan off as they have, if it was China and Russia that wanted to kick off something to distract people, because all the news and everything has pivoted from Ukraine to the Sudan now, for the entire world. Yeah. And it would be a perfect thing if, say, China was planning to actually finally go for Taiwan and Russia was planning to use something strategic or tactical against Ukraine. All the news networks, all the FaceTime has pivoted away from Ukraine towards Sudan at the moment. It'd be the perfect time for them to do something. And I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong, and that it isn't to do with those meetings that China and Russia had together, where they said they were going to create a new world order to rival the West. It would be a perfect way to... Everybody's looking over there now instead of looking where they need to be looking at Russia. and China. And that's a bad thing. I hope I'm wrong. I really hope I'm wrong. What do you think, Tequila? What do you think, Tenacious? I'm just going to refill my drinky. We need drinky. Yeah, it's the UN is a fallacy. Yeah, the UN is a fallacy now. It's been taken over by the Chinese. It's sad, isn't it, that most of the UN sections and that have someone from China or Russia who've basically bought out. They've spent money on all the third world countries, so they've got the votes of all the third world countries to get in positions of power for these places. That's how China's done it. China and Russia have been very, very intelligent. They've been buying up and paying for stuff to be done in all these countries, these third world countries, to help. Yeah. And so UN isn't helping at all. It's a joke at the moment, UN, unfortunately. I'd say... So this is why I say when in these situations, the reason we talk about this isn't to freak people out. The reason we talk about this is so that you understand that if there's anything you want to do it now. If there's someone you care about, let them know. And make sure you're looking after your friends and you're there for your friends, because we have no idea what's coming next. This kind of situation should not cause you to lose hope. It should instead make you want to live every day as if it's a month. Like Paola. When Paola got ill with cancer, instead of letting it destroy her, she just appreciated life more every single day. I mean, that's the wonderful thing about it. Yeah, it could work if it's greed. Yeah. Be there for the people that matter. Spend time with those that are special to you. Do all the things now that you'd usually put off for years, because we have no idea. Let's face it, Tequila, it was the same for everybody else, isn't it? I mean, we knew things were going wrong, but up until about 2019, most of the West were feeling really comfortable, cuddly and safe, weren't they? Hello, Madeline. So, and this has been a wake-up call for us all. But yeah, do things that make you happy. Do things that make you happy. Spend time doing all those things that you wish you had time for. Do them now, because otherwise, what's the point? What's the point of it all? I get to spend time with wonderful people like all of you. I get to spend time doing what I want. And I'm still going to do the same thing. Yeah, we need to be more wary. We need to be more aware of what's going on. We were basically sleepwalking. And the thing is, as we've talked about before, Pootiekins is a complete and fucking numpty-inty. I mean, the simple fact is, Pootiekins is a numpty. And the reason I say that isn't because of him failing at the war. I'm saying it's a complete numpty because he started the war. And why is that? Because he almost had the entire of Europe in his pocket. Nearly every single country in Europe was buying gas from them, was paying them billions, was welcoming them in. He could have basically taken over the entire of Europe without doing anything wrong. He could have been the best friend of everyone and got everything he wanted. if he had just stayed the course of just doing, he had already basically, everybody was in his pocket, and then he did this. He screwed it all up for himself completely. He was at the point where Russia was becoming the power and the political force in Europe completely, because everybody was buying his oil and that. He had control of it all. And then he did something really stupid, didn't he? He did something really stupid. Because it could have been a good alliance. I mean, yeah, he could have had an amazing alliance. We could have had a new age. I've got past all this crap. And it would have... After all, we all know that Ukraine was absolutely no threat to him and was not in any way threatening him. So it's just crazy that he took this path which will only lead to his destruction no matter what. No matter what, he won't end up winning, and that isn't wishful thinking, he just won't. Because just like Japan found out in the Second World War when it attacked America with Pearl Harbor, that was also one of the most stupid things in the world, of all things. I mean, let's face it, ranks second to Putin. I mean, they thought, hey, we'll just punch this sleeping bear and then see how it goes. Because anybody who knew America and Europe, and anybody who knows any country that is I don't know on that. Because as we know, the reason that America joined the war, they weren't going to join the war. America was going to be isolationist and keep out of it, of the Second World War. They only joined basically because Japan did a stupid thing. And once again, see the... we want to know why, because none of it makes sense. None of it makes sense that people living there, if you talk too far to go, none of it makes sense. They were in the position where things were so thingy. You could go... The tourist industry in Russia was raking in so much money in 2019. That so many people wanted to go to Russia for tourism and that. And the doors were opening to Russian citizens. Anywhere in Europe they could come over and everything. Everything was going right for Russia. Everything was. They were like... And then all of a sudden he did the derp move. And it isn't just him, unfortunately. There's a cadre of people around him and who are completely hardliners and dangerous and want the same thing. And I know why it happened, though. Would you like me to explain why it happened? And me and Fartigo have talked about this, but I know why it happened. Yeah. What happened that caused Putin to do with this is this. In his early days, after the FSB, after he'd been in part of the KGB and then FSB, when he became into political power, and he changed the rules so he could continue being in political power, he surrounded himself with like-minded people. He brought all the people, all the killers, all the really nasty people from the KGB and FSB into his cadre. And he filled, and over the years, he killed off anybody who, not just dissenting, but had any other ideas than him. So over the years, we got this situation where Putin was in an echo chamber, and everybody in that echo chamber either thought exactly like he did, or they disappeared. So over the 5-10 years of it happening, he created this entire delusional state where not one of the important people from military to agricultural to anybody, would say anything against anything he chose to do. And at the same time, everything he chose to do would be backed up by them. So he said to his people, how's our army doing? Of course, the generals are going to say, amazing, we've got the best army in the world, look at all that stuff. But the generals knew that everything was being sold and corrupt, and that the thingy, but instead of actually telling him the truth and saying we need to redo the army and that before we do anything, all they said to him was, yes, we're ready. We've got the best tanks, we've got the best everything, and we can kick the ass of anyone. And he says, do you think we can take out Ukraine and take Ukraine in like 3 days? Oh, yes, you'll be able to do that. You'll be able to do that. Yes, you'll be able to do that. Because if anybody had said no to him, he would have asked why and then had them killed. So that is what happened. He created this delusional ecosystem around Putin where all his entire cadre, all the people from the KGB, the FSB, were all there. And even the ones that knew that the army wasn't in a shape to do this, that there's no way they could take Ukraine, would not tell him that. And so that's what happened, just like Hitler did. Hitler did the same thing. Yeah, built on delusions. This is what happens if you have a country, a totalitarian country, and you surround yourself politically with only yes men. And you take control of the media, so even the media can't ask questions. It's self-destructive, because we all know how much of a laughingstock the Russian army is. We all know that they were selling parts to their planes and selling their armour to people. The corrupt people were selling all their stuff off for years and years and years. But all they had to do with Putin was say, yes, we've got all this, we've got this, hundreds of thousands of people, we've got a full army, we've got all our people training in there. And the people weren't training, they were just getting drunk on vodka. They were just getting drunk and selling off. They were selling ammunition to the enemies in Chechnya for vodka. Bullets that were given to the people who fired the bullets back at them. But Putin never got to hear about all this because he created this complete fortress of people around him and got rid of every single person in his government either ended up in jail who didn't agree with him or had an accident. And that's been going on for years. Yeah, labour forces, yeah. There was none of the real training or anything was going on because Putin would say, how's our training going? We've got this budget of $1 billion, $2 billion, $3 billion for training. Then the generals would use that money to put it in their Swiss accounts and instead just send the people to make houses and to know how to build a trench and the basic labour stuff. It's laughable, but it's sad, isn't it, that it came to that they did that. And that's why he's in the situation he is now, because he's surrounded himself so much. And like you said, the danger is, even if we get rid of him, unless we get rid of the entire infrastructure he built around him, some other crazy son of a bitch in there who's probably worse and even more hardlining, will just take over and do exactly what he did anyway. So that's why we're so screwed at the moment. You cannot have a country. This is why we need the press. This is why we need bipartisan, proper parties. You always need two parties in a political system. It doesn't matter whether they both suck. Yeah, I can talk about UK politics without being arrested. Yeah, in the UK we can talk about it. UK politics sucks. Both sides sucks. The Labour is lying, Conservative are lying. The thing, and the problem is if you ever have a system that doesn't have a two-party system or more than two-party system, then you're screwed, because that's one party doesn't have to then think, and that's where a lot of our problems have come from, sadly. Hey, it looks like the croquettes are done, the croquettes are done, the croquettes are done. They can sit on there for now. Yeah. UK politics at the moment is being a bit. No, in the UK we can actually talk about stuff like this, no problem. You don't get arrested just talking about it. You have to, if you want. The UK's laws when it comes to this kind of thing is you can be arrested for doing bad demonstrations and putting people in danger and stuff like that. But I can basically say that I think Rishi Sunak is an idiot, and that won't get me problems. I think that Keir Starmer isn't the best thing. Life isn't very good. James Elledge. Hi, James. Life isn't wonderful. Because we came out of Brexit, because of Brexit and removing ourselves from Europe, means that every single one of our deals with the world had to be redone, and we got worse deals. Which means ordering from outside the country is... I ordered I've got an Azeal plushie upstairs that came yesterday. Lovely, I love it. The actual item cost £25, but the postage cost £25 on top. We are running out of a lot of foodstuffs in the UK and getting reduced. We're not running out of the actual food, we're reduced the quality of choice. No. Things in the UK are okay, but it was far better. We were far better in 2019 than we are now. Let me just sort out the gravy. Gravy. So yeah. Yeah, in the UK, we're not too bad. We've got still, the NHS is still just about working. We're not falling apart yet, but it's not as good as it used to be because of Brexit, COVID, and now this war in Europe is the war in Europe is affecting everything, and I think it's affecting everyone. It's pretty lucky that I only didn't think. Right, so the potatoes are there ready to be mashed. I'll show you what it all looks like once it's done. Now we need the swirly thing because we've got to put the gravy on. Gravy out. Got this. Fine. In the UK, the disability system. Yeah. I think it's more to do with just we need to redo the benefit structure and that. I'm classed as severely disabled because of my autism, and that. I'm okay in the house, and I'm okay when I'm connected to a camera because that focuses me. But I have ADHD and bipolar, and that, and the mental health service is massively underfunded. For example, let me explain. For me, I am awaiting my assessment for autism to find out where on the scale I am. Everybody knows that I'm autistic, but the classification hasn't happened yet, and I've got to have a meeting now. I've been waiting for that meeting for about 70 weeks. And it could take another 50 to 100 weeks before I can get a FaceTime meeting with the autistic assessment people. Because the mental health is so underfunded, it needs more funding. It is very hard to get anything done like that. So I would say that the biggest thing that needs to change and needs more money and more budget is the mental health in the UK. It's better than some countries. It is better than some countries, but especially when it comes to disabilities and autism and that, especially for adults, something like 80-90% of the funding, I believe, from what I read online, goes towards autism in children and not adults. So that type of thing is something that's very thing. Okay, so let's do the potatoes. I'm going to do the potatoes. Now, due to my issues, you've got actually better mental health stuff than we have at the moment. We've got stuff in place, but there just isn't the funding to do it. So, okay, so I can't have dairy and I can't eat eggs. Dairy and eggs I can't touch anyway due to issues that happened. So, oat milk, how do I make mash? A little bit of oat milk, because oat milk is safe for me. I can use oat milk. And a little bit of vegetarian mayonnaise, because I can even use normal mayonnaise at a pinch. For some reason, the process of the thingies actually means it works. So a little bit of mayonnaise and some oat milk to make mashed potatoes. And when I cook my potatoes, I always leave the skin on. The reason for that is that potatoes and carrots, a lot of the goodness in potatoes and carrots are in the skin. So as long as you clean them, as long as they clean, the skin on carrots and the skin on potatoes is actually where most of the taste is for carrots and potatoes, and also most of the goodness. So I never peel my potatoes. I never peel my carrots, because if you do that, you're getting rid of most of the actual goodness from the actual. If that makes sense. Now, I'm going to have some of this now. The rest will. All this will go in there. So let's have a look at one more thing. Let's put the gravy on and then I'll show you the meal. So some of the gravy goes on here and some on top. later I'll maybe turn it into a soup or something. Alright, so let's just show you what the food looks like using my there we are. We cooked mashed potatoes, carrots, potato croquettes, and chicken pie. The potato croquettes and chicken pie were done in the air fryer, and the rest was done on the hob. It's a pretty standard meal for me to eat in the morning because I can only eat twice a day, so I have to have a lunch and then I have to have another meal about 4 o'clock. I can't eat after 4 o'clock at night. So what my plan is now, I'm going to go and eat. I'll upload this onto the site as a cooking and chat. And then I will be upstairs and probably do a stream this afternoon once I want to mess with this computer more because this is my little laptop in the kitchen. I'm tweaking and sorting out a lot of things on it. So I hope you all have a good day. We'll see you all later. We are all awesome. Bye bye for now. We can always talk about that's the whole point of this morning stream that we do. We can, while I'm cooking, we can talk about anything. So I will say bye bye for now.